Hey everybody, welcome to this video. I'm Laura123 and this is going to be my monthly reading wrap up. So in this video I'm going to be telling you about the books that I read in the month of October. So yeah, lots of like spooky Halloween reads, which was great, and I read a lot of books in October actually. Most of them I really enjoyed. There were a few that I didn't, but overall it was a really good reading month. Now, I hope you enjoy watching the video. If you do, please click like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. And don't forget please to smash the notification bell to all notifications. Then you can see when I'm doing live streams and also when I've uploaded new videos. Let me know in the comments section down below what books you read in October, what you're currently reading. Did you read like lots of scary horror books, or like, just tell me. I love your comments. So yeah, I've got my laptop here. I'm going to be reading my notes from there. Also, I've got a couple of books I want to show you. One is my current read and the other one is the book I plan on reading next, which I got turned up in the post this morning. I'm very excited about that. I do have the flu at the moment, so I want to apologise in advance for croaky voice. Apologise if I cough, apologise if I sneeze, and apologies for just looking a real mess, basically. So I just apologize. I had the flu for about a week or so now. Like, I feel really groggy. Should I be filming this video? Probably not, but like, I do love doing my reading wrap-ups and I like to do them at the very beginning of each month. And so yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna do it. I have my Lemsip here in the cup. Cheers. Yeah, and I've also gave it to Nathan, who's my fiance. If you're new here, he's got the flu as well, so we're both like, oh. But yes, I try not to cough. I will try not to cough because coughing is really annoying in videos, and I'll try not to sneeze. But if it happens, it happens. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry in advance. All right, so let's get started with telling you about the books that I read in the month of October. Just going to pop the glasses on. You know I mean business. I've also got a Ribena here, blackcurrant Ribena. Vitamin C. Okay, so the first book I read was a great creepy start to the month, and it was called The Lighthouse by Alex Bell. By the way, all the books that I mention in this video down below, I'll put the links to their Goodreads pages, so you can read more and more like details about the books. You can find out other people's reviews, things like that. Okay. So yeah, The Lighthouse, Alex Bell, is a creepy YA horror featuring a really like spooky lighthouse, really terrifying birds and lots of tragic secrets that come to light. So I do have a bird phobia, so for me, like, I didn't realize the book was going to be so birdy. And these weren't just friendly birds, they were like, it was quite horrific actually at times. Yeah, as I say, having a bird phobia, probably not a good idea to read this book. But apart from the bird thing, the actual storyline was good, the characters was good. It was definitely very eerie and creepy, and I've read a few books by this author before. I really like her stuff. So yeah, and I love books about lighthouses. Random but true. I've never been to a lighthouse, but I just love reading about lighthouses. So yeah, I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. It was really good. The next book I read, wow, I mean, where do I start? This book was amazing. It's by Erin Kelly and it's called The Skeleton Key. It's the first time I've ever read anything by this author. I know she's really like popular, but I don't know, I've never read anything by her. And I saw the cover of this book and it was so beautiful. I was like, oh my God. I know they say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but I kind of do. I do like a nice, you know, book cover. But honestly, this book was amazing. It was big, it was chunky, it was over 500 pages. So it did take me quite a few days to get through this book. I'm quite a fast reader, but because it was so long, it did take me a long time. But you know what? I really devoured it. Like, I really enjoyed it. And normally I'm kind of, with big books, I'm kind of rushing through them. But with this one, I didn't want to. I was kind of just taking it at my own pace and just really enjoying every part of it. So family dramas, secrets, a treasure hunt, picture book, murder. There's just so much going on in this book, seriously, and I just loved all of it. I loved all the aspects of it. And it reminded me of Forrest Fenn's real life hidden treasure story. Really fascinating, really interesting book, and I loved it. It's really exciting as well, and I gave it a 5 stars. And I'd definitely love to read more books by Erin Kelly. What an amazing author. So the next book I read was The Reluctant Vampire Queen by Jo Simmons. Had to get my vampires in, you know, in the month of October. So this book is about a young girl called Mo Mary Drew. It kind of gave me the vibes of Geek Girl and Buffy at the same time. By the way, I love the Geek Girl series so much. So, I mean, I like that element of it. What I will say about this book, it was marketed as a YA, but I do honestly feel it was more kind of middle grade. I mean, it was silly, it was funny, it was cute. You know, I did enjoy reading it, but it just, as I say, it felt more of a middle grade. So yeah, this girl Mo, she's on her way back from her friends one night on her bike, and she meets this mysterious man, a mysterious man on a dark night. You shouldn't be talking to him, but she does talk to him, and he tells her that she's the chosen one. She's set to be the vampire queen, and I don't know. It was very silly, but it was funny. I give it 3 stars. Which was a kind of, you know, it was okay kind of score for me. I won't continue on with this series because it is a series, because it just felt way too young. And I tell you what, I hate the word mini Battenbergs, because this character, she absolutely loved mini Battenberg cakes, and I'm not kidding you. Every other page it was mentioned how much she loved eating mini Battenbergs, and I'm like, oh, we get it already. We don't need to keep hearing it. So yeah, it was, you know, it was fun. It was okay. The next book I read, oh my god, the next 2 books I read, part of a series. I love these so much. These are super hyped up books. Loads of people rave about these books, and I tell you, I get why they rave about them, because they're brilliant. So it's by Erin Sterling, and I read The X Hex, and then I read the sequel, which is The Kiss Curse. So The X Hex, this was just super great. It was super fun. A witchy romance about hexes on exes gone wrong. I mean, I would love to hex a few exes, I'm not going to lie. But this was just such a fun read, and perfect for like Halloween time, for all the witchcraft and magic and stuff. There's a talking cat, there's magic, there's love, there's comedy, there's passion, there's, you know, families. Like, there's so much going on. I just loved it. Enemies to lovers tropes really annoy me sometimes in books because they're so obvious what's going to happen. But with these 2, I don't know, I just really wanted them to kind of get together. Vivian was such a great character, and I really loved it. And The Kiss Curse was, as I say, the sequel. Oh, sorry, I gave that 5 stars. And the sequel, Kiss Curse, I also gave 5 stars too. So this book is the story of her cousin, who's called Gwen. So Gwen was in the first book, she was in it quite a bit, but this book is all kind of about her. Vivian is in this book a bit as well, which was nice to see her back. But there's more romance, more kind of enemies to lovers vibe, more magic. There's also some new witches in town, and I think Gwen is more sassy as well, which I really like. So yeah, I really enjoyed both of those, and I don't know if it's a duology or an actual, like, is there going to be another one? I hope there's going to be a number 3. A number 4, a number 5, and 6. Honestly, I loved it. I really enjoyed those. So yeah, 5 stars to The Kiss Curse and The X Hex. So next up, I listened to. Sorry, I'm gonna have to cough. I'm so sorry. Have some Lemsip, Laura. Oh, okay. I wish I could say it tasted nice, but I'd be lying. Right, so yeah, I listened to this on my Audible. I love having Audible. I have one book that I pay for the month, and then others that I listen to for free on their Plus catalogue. There's so much selection on there. Like, I know there's other audiobook things out there, but for me, honestly, I love Audible. I think it's the best one. So much choice, and so many like bestsellers on there as well, which is great. But yeah, I listened to this one, and it was called Once More with Chutzpah by Hayley Neal. I really wanted to love this book. I really wanted to love this book. I love books with Jewish rep. There should be more, just saying. I'm Jewish myself, by the way, hence that I want more books with Jewish rep in. And I love the fact that this book is set in Israel, the beautiful Holy Land, hearing about the history, and just the descriptions of Israel and stuff were amazing. And talking about the history and the culture and Judaism in general. Like, that about the audiobook, I did enjoy. I was looking forward to that bit. And I enjoyed that bit. What I didn't enjoy about this story was the main character. She was just so dull, and the story itself was just dragging. Like, I just didn't really care what the characters were going through, because I didn't particularly like him. I don't know if it made it worse that the actress doing the voiceover, like, the story was just really boring. Like her voice was so like bland and there was no like personality. When I listen to an audiobook, I really like the voices to be like really fun and uplifting, or just true to the character kind of thing. And this, whoever was doing it, was just, it's like she didn't really want to be there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's about these twins called Tally and Max. Tally's the main character, the girl. They head off to Israel for this kind of self-discovery, and I don't know. I had to stop listening to it because I was just so bored with it. So yeah, I didn't give it 2 stars because it was just really boring for me. Sorry. Next up, I read Best Friends Until the End by Steve Fox, which I got from the library. It's a little quick graphic novel. I really like reading graphic novels in between sort of books, if you know what I mean. And I just really like graphic novels in general. I love looking at the artwork, and I don't know, I really enjoy them. So this was a creepy vibe one because I wanted it for Halloween, and it was about this weird girl who kind of befriends this other girl who's really lonely. She doesn't have any friends and stuff, and they start hanging out. Everything's good until this other girl starts kind of copying her, like everything she likes, her clothing, until she kind of becomes her. It's really weird and creepy. So the artwork was really cool. I give it 3 stars because I wished it would have been a bit longer. I think that story that they had and the artwork could have been like a bit longer because it was quite good and stuff. So yeah. Next, I read The Ripper of Whitechapel, which is Ghost Hunter Chronicles number 2. So this is by Yvette Fielding. If you've not heard of Yvette Fielding, she's very famous here in the UK for being a TV presenter and really like a paranormal enthusiast. She hosts a show called Most Haunted, and she's all into spooky stuff, which is great. So I had read number 1 in this series, which was okay, like I enjoyed it, but this one was far better, and I wasn't expecting it to be quite as dark as it was because number 1 wasn't really that dark. I was like, oh, this is just gonna be no. This was really dark. It's basically the story. The main character is the ghost of Jack the Ripper. Now you can imagine how horrible a person Jack the Ripper was. Imagine what his ghost is like. I mean, like he's like evil, man. And then you've got the 3 investigators who are Eve, Clovis, and Tom. They're there. Basically Jack's been haunting this local school and he's not been very nice. There's also a couple of ghost children, which always creep me out anyway. It was really good and it was really dark, and I did not expect it to be, as I say, quite as scary as it was. It's really scary at times. And I also really like the world building in this book, the way that they'd kind of had this paranormal agency set up, and they were running from like unused old underground stations, which was really clever. Like I really enjoyed this one, and I gave it 5 stars, and I can't wait for the next book in the series. It left on a kind of, you know what's going to happen next, kind of the vibe of the story. So there's going to be like a monster in that one, so I'm not saying anymore, but it is really good. I can't wait. More medicine. Okay, so next up I read The Other Ones by Fran Hart. This was a YA LGBTQI plus themed book. I saw this online on Waterstones website. I love the cover of it. I was like, oh my god, there's these cool cool characters on the cover. There's a pumpkin. It's going to be spooky. It had been marketed as kind of a spooky YA contemporary, but I felt like the marketing was really misleading because this wasn't scary in the slightest. It didn't feel very spooky at all. It was more like a contemporary kind of romance and dealing with grief and friendship and sexuality. So I don't know, I just didn't get, I think they just stuck a pumpkin on the cover thinking, ha ha ha, people would think it's a Halloween book. But I was not happy about that. So yeah, I didn't give it a 1 star. I did DNF it because it wasn't doing anything for me at all, and I didn't really like the characters, and it just wasn't what it was supposed to be. So yeah. Next one I read, I got from the library. It's a graphic novel called Oxygen Mask by Jason Reynolds. I absolutely loved Long Way Down, which was one of the best graphic novels, and actually I read it as a graphic novel and a book that I've ever read. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So I had high hopes for this one, but oh my god, this was weird. This was very, very weird. So it's about this family in lockdown. There's not really much words or speech or anything. It is mainly the artwork kind of speaks for itself, which I will give respect to because that's really clever, the way that art speaks and tells the story. but it was just so like just so depressing and just miserable, and I don't know, like maybe I was missing the deeper meaning to it, but I was like every page was like, oh, that's depressing, oh, that's depressing. Um and it's weird because on Goodreads it says like, you know, the information about the book is it's about lockdown, and it's supposed to be a very comforting book. And I was like, I didn't find it comforting. I just found it really damn depressing. Like, anyway, I give it 2 stars because the art was clever and good, but just really miserable. Really miserable. I had enough of lockdown in the real world. I don't want to read about it, you know? Well, look at the pictures about it. So anyway, moving on. It went from meh to yes. The next book I absolutely loved, and it was The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. So I love this author. I've read a lot of her books. I think there's only one that I haven't read yet, and she is just amazing. She's very raw. She writes so gritty, and actually Tiffany D. Jackson and Courtney Summers for me are quite similar in the way that they're very raw and gritty with their writing. It feels really real, and I love that. But yeah, this one is supposed to be like a reimagining of Carrie by Stephen King, but I've never read the book, I've never watched the film, so to me, I don't know what Carrie was about, really, so I just took this as a fresh kind of story. So this was, you know, it was a horror. It is quite dark at times. There was some, like, gruesome and dark stuff in it, right? But it was a lot more than a horror. It also dealt with abuse, family, like, abuse. It dealt with racism. It dealt with bullying. There was a bit of romance in there as well thrown in, but yeah, it was just really good. Very unusual. Very thought-provoking, very dark, as I say, and that ending, without giving any spoilers, was so good. Like I really was like, oh. But yeah, really good book, really good. 5 stars for that. So next up, I can't believe I'm gonna say negative stuff about this, but it's the Heartstopper Yearbook by Alice Oseman. I'm a huge Heartstopper fan. I've got all the books downstairs on my library. Like, I'm really happy and proud of it, you know. But this one, I put straight on eBay. Like, I didn't even keep it for my collection because basically it's a yearbook and it's filled with like these cute little, I don't know, comic strips and unseen images, how to draw the characters, fact files. And as what it was, like, it was cute, but I just think so much more could have been done with it. I read a review from someone else on Goodreads who had kind of said exactly what I thought. Like, if you're such a huge fan of the Heartstopper series, you know about the characters. You don't really need like a little silly fact file about them, like this person likes this and dislikes that, because you'd kind of know that. I wish instead of those pages there would have been more like comic strips, unseen, you know, strips that had been done and you'd not seen before, or, you know, what happened to Nick and Charlie after the book's finished, that kind of thing. I just felt it was a bit like, sorry to say this because I am a fan of Heartstopper, but it just felt like she's kind of cashing in a bit, like, oh, you know, what can I do? Or bring out a yearbook and put loads of, I don't know, for me, it just didn't, I don't know, I feel really bad saying it, because I love Nick and Charlie's characters, I love the graphic novels, I love the TV show, but this for me, I just think it could have been so much more than what it was. So I give it a 3 stars. And look, there were some really cute pictures in, which I loved, of Nick and Charlie and co. But yeah, more could have been done with it, I think. Next up, I read It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. I love her books. Like, I just love her books. Colleen Hoover for me is one of my favourite authors now. I have to say that, because every book I've read from her so far, and there's still more that I haven't read yet, I fall in love with. I fall in love with the characters. I care about them. I'm thinking about the books after I've finished them. Like, you know, they stay with me. So this one is the sequel to It Ends With Us, and it kind of carries on from where that book ended. So I don't want to kind of give too much away in case you haven't read the first one, but I really recommend that you do because it's brilliant. But yeah, so It Starts With Us, sequel. So yeah, basically you get to find out what happened with Atlas and Lily. Their story continues. I liked meeting Atlas's brother, and the story with him and stuff was really good and interesting, and his mum, and just yeah, just really good. I love being back in their lives again and stuff. The only person I really hate is it Ryle? Am I saying that? Ryle? Who's Lily's ex. He was very abusive. He was horrible. And my only thing with Lily is, like, why does she care so much about what her ex thinks? Because he was an abusive, like, a-hole. Like, I don't get why she's like, oh, I don't want to go on a date with, you know, the gorgeous, lovely Atlas because he might get upset. Well, he was an abusive, horrible person. Why do you care? Anyway, see how I mean? I really take these book characters to life. But yeah, no, it's really, really good. I loved it, and I gave it a 5 stars. Next book I read was super creepy. Oh my god, this I would have to say this would probably be one of the most scariest books I've ever read, ever. And I've read a lot of horror now, you know, over the years, but this book freaked me out so much. It's called Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. It's a horror stroke thriller. I wanted to read this book because it had been so hyped up. Everyone was talking about it. It's one of those booktok sensations, and you know, every time I'd go on a website, it was there. Like, I don't know, I felt like I wanted to kind of check it out, and it was a spooky story, so I thought it'd be perfect for Halloween month. The creepy drawings in this book for me really made it. Like, it would have been scary without the drawings, but I think the drawings as you go along just make it more atmospheric, more real, and it so basically it's about this character called Mallory, who I really liked, by the way. I thought she was lovely. She becomes a nanny for this couple and their son, who live in the kind of middle of nowhere in this big house, and basically the son starts drawing these really horrific drawings, which are in the book. You get to see the pictures, as I say. There's a mystery, there's been a murder, there's so much going on, but honestly, you just need to read it. If you like horror, if you like thrillers, check it out. But beware, because those drawings are blooming freaky. Even Nathan, like, I showed Nathan my book, and I was like, look at this drawing. He's like, oh. Honestly, there's some really dark drawings in there. So yeah, really original, and I loved it. So 5 stars, perfect for Halloween month. Next book I read was Time After Time by Louise Pentland, who I honestly didn't know who she was. Like, I'd heard of her name, and so I looked her up because I thought, I know her name, but I don't know who she is. And it ends up she's like a YouTuber and stuff, which once I saw who she was, I was like, because I remember her being all friends with like Zoella and stuff. I'm not really into like Zoella and all that sort of YouTubey thing. Like, they're not my thing. But I thought, well, you know, I'm not going to judge a book just on who the author is. Do you know what I mean? It's silly. So I give it a go. It was fun. It was a time travel story, which I don't normally do time travel stories. But this time travel story was set in current day and the 80s. And I love all things 80s. So it kind of was like, okay. I did like the little mentions of the 80s, obviously, and the references of the films, music, fashion. But it's just so stupid. This girl, and she's like stuck in a rut in her life, and then she finds this magical bit of jewellery and in an antique shop where she works, and like she gets every time she puts this ring on, she gets transported to the 80s, and then she comes back, and it's like, I don't know, it was silly, it was stupid, but it was okay. Like, there were points of it was actually like really laughing. Like, I thought it was really funny. So yeah, bit silly, bit predictable, but hey, I like the 80s, what can I say? So I gave it a 3 stars. Next, oh my god, this was terrible. A graphic novel that I'd picked up from the library called Moonstruck. This is volume 1, Magic to Brew, LGBTQI plus themed graphic novel. I'm trying to be positive about this. I mean, the artwork was super cute. It was really, really cute. But it was just so ridiculous. It's like these like werewolves were working in coffee shops, and there was this magician who put a really horrible spell on one of their friends, and it was, I don't know, maybe it was just aimed at like a lot younger people than me. I don't know what it was. I just thought it was so ridiculous. But the artwork was really cute. I'll give it a 1 star for the cute artwork. And I won't be carrying on with the other volumes. I think you can probably tell that. Right, the next book I read was Within These Walls by Lauren Blackwood. I'd wanted to read this book for ages. Like, I just couldn't get hold of it anywhere. I was desperate to get hold of it. I'd seen it everywhere, like people raving about it. And I couldn't seem to get it. But anyway, one day I was in Waterstones, and it was just sitting there on one of the tables. And I was like, what? Grabbed it, got it, done. But I was really let down. I wish I wouldn't have wasted my money and my enthusiasm, because this book was weird, and I did have to DNF it. I loved it in the first chapters. Like, first few chapters, I was like, wow, like, this is amazing. Going to be a 5-star prediction and all that stuff. Very kind of gothic style of writing. I don't know, it kind of gave me Silvia Moreno Garcia vibes, who I love her books. So I was like, oh, this is great. But then it just got really weird, and it got very gory. I don't like books with gore. And there was lots of like blood, like blood dripping down the walls, blood there, blood here. I don't like blood, and it was like, oh. So maybe it's a case of sorry, maybe it's a case of it's not me, it's you with the book. Like, I don't know. But I just found it too gory and just weird, and no. So I DNF'd it and gave it 1 star, which I think maybe I should have given it 2 stars because I did enjoy the first bit. But anyway, I didn't like it basically. So the next book I'm going to say about, honestly, I haven't got a thing against Alice Oseman. It's going to sound like I have, but I haven't. I love Heartstopper, okay? So I thought I would try one of her standalone books. Now, I've tried a few in the past and I've not really gotten on with them, but I thought, you know, I'm going to give it another go. And I read Solitaire by her, which I think is one of her biggest, most popular standalones that she's done. But I just don't connect with her books. Like, I do connect with the graphic novels, obviously, but I like the story of this was just so, like, I get where she's coming from, and I think it's really great that she deals with subjects that are a bit taboo, that are really hard to talk about, like self-harm, depression, and all that. Like, I respect that. But for me, Tori, the main character, was just so, like, depressing and bringing me down. Every time I read her words, I kind of got into her head, and it was just making me feel miserable, and I was like, I don't want that. But yeah, nothing made her happy. Like, it just felt like anything, it just wasn't good enough for her. I just didn't like the character. I didn't like the story, so I DNF'd it. 1 star, and I'm really sorry. Why am I saying sorry? I'm not sorry. It's just my own opinions. Like, if everyone liked the same thing, it'd be boring, right? Alright, so we've got a couple left. 16 Souls by Rosie Talbot was the next book I read. I really love this book, like, so much, until about halfway through. And then I found myself getting totes. Sound like I'm on Made in Chelsea. Totally confused. Like, it was just weird. Like, it literally, a book went from here to there. Like, you know. The world building got really weird. There were too many characters. I love the main character. He was lovely. Looking on my note, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie was lovely. I love the disabled rep as well, which was great to have in the book. I love the fact that he was a seer, that he could talk to ghosts. I love the ghosts at the beginning that you introduced to, like the nurse who he knew, and the little boy that, like, lived in his room and stuff, like, and his ghost dog. Like, I really love this book at first. But then, I don't know what happened. There was this weird cult of ghosts, and ghosts were going missing, and I don't know. I just lost it. I was like, I can't get into this. So I did DNF it. I give it 3 stars, which is a higher vote for me if I've DNF'd a book. But as I say, it was just so good at the beginning. So yeah. And the last book I've finished reading of the month was The Retreat by Sarah Percy. Actually, hold on, I'm wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm just thinking, I finished reading that, but I only finished that yesterday, which is still November. So ignore me. That should be in November's reading wrap up. So I will not tell you about The Retreat. But I did just finish reading The Retreat by Sarah Percy. But I will not tell you about that because I read that in November. So that'll be in November's reading wrap up. Duh. Sorry. It's only that when I realised, I was like, why haven't I just finished that? And we're in November. But anyway, so I won't read about that. Okay, so they are the books that I read in the month of October. So what have I got here? Oh yeah, so the biggest book I read was The Skeleton Key, which had 512 pages. 512. And my book of the month was The Skeleton Key. It was really difficult because there were some 5 stars, as you know, but like I just had to go with The Skeleton Key because it was so unique. There was so much going on. I love the treasure hunt. I love the family secrets, and every chapter ended on a kind of cliffhanger, and you just couldn't wait to read the next chapter. Like, it was amazing. And that beautiful cover as well. So my book of the month for October is The Skeleton Key by Erin Kelly. Okay. Oh my. Okay, so that's that. Oh, I'm trying not to cough so much, but I can't help it now. I'm sorry. So let me really quickly tell you before I go about my current read, and then show you the book I got in the post this morning. Is it too early to read Christmas books? I mean, literally, it's just turned November, and like, I'm reading a Christmas book. But let me know, do you ever read Christmas books earlier than December? Because for me, like, I like reading Christmas and Hanukkah books in the month of December, obviously, right? But I saw this the other day in Sainsbury's and I literally fell in love with that cover. I thought the cover was so cute. It got Christmas trees and decorations, the bookshop, like, oh my God, I had to get it. It's like £4.50. And I was going to leave it till December, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't leave it. I was like, I just want to read it now. So I decided to read it now. I think when I'm feeling ill and like groggy and stuff, it's just nice to have like a cozy little comforting read as well. So yeah, it's by Jenny Colgan. It's called The Christmas Bookshop. It's about two sisters called Carmen and Sophia. So Sophia is looking for a job. Like, she really needs to get a job and fast. Sophia is her older sister who's like perfect in her eyes. Like, she's married, she's got the kids, she's got everything the other one hasn't got. It's set in Scotland, snowy Edinburgh, and yeah, she goes to work at this bookshop, Mr. Macready's bookshop. Apparently it's really like a beautiful bookshop, but it's in trouble. It's old, you know, no one really goes in there much, and it's going to get closed down. And basically Carmen, who's the girl looking for the job, she goes to work there, and can she turn it all around? Can she save the bookshop? And I think there's obviously a bit of a romance as well, so the handsome visitor. So yeah, I'm liking it actually. I'm on page 10, which isn't much in, but already I'm really liking it. It's really funny and cute, and yeah, so that is my current read. I've never read anything by this author, so yeah. I know she's done quite a few Christmassy books, so maybe I'll get some more at Christmas time. Who knows? And the other book that I want to show you quickly, I got in the post this morning. This is Cruel Illusions by Margie. I don't know how to pronounce her name. It's either Margie or Margie. Margie Fuston. I don't know. Anyway, look at the playing cards. How cool are they? And the little symbols there. So yeah, Cruel Illusions, Win or Die. A deadly competition, a magical secret society, and a chance for revenge. This is going to be my next book, without a doubt. I've honestly wanted to read this for ages. Look at the side of the book, all the playing cards, so cool. So this is about a girl called Anna. Her mother gets murdered by a vampire, and basically she's out one night and she stumbles across this like weird little backstreet magic show, and these magicians basically say she works with them and helps them with stuff. They'll help her get revenge on this vampire and to kill the vampire who killed her mum. So she gets involved with all these like secret society and magicians, and oh my God, honestly, this just sounds like perfect for me, everything I'm into. So yeah, woo, I'm so excited. So once I've done my Christmas book, that'll be my next read. Okay, right, thank you so much for watching. Once again, I do apologise for looking rubbish and sounding rubbish and coughing. At least I didn't sneeze, so it's not all bad. But yeah, so let me know in the comments section down below what books you read in October and what you're reading now, if there's any new books coming out that you're excited about. And yeah, just anything bookish. I love reading your comments. So I'll see you in the next video. And yeah, take care of yourselves, happy reading, and I'll see you later. Bye.